Department issued a set of FAQs on the applicability of the changes related to the tax collected at source provisions on LRS or Liberalized Remittance Scheme and on the purchase of an overseas tour package. The government has said that forex dealers and agents selling overseas tourist packages will have to take an undertaking from their customers about the customers' past remittances and overseas visits made in a given financial year for the purposes of deducting TCS. Our colleague Shivani Bazaz caught up with Tajinder Singh, VP and Head of Tax at Make My Trip, to understand how exactly this is going to play out.
There are two different provisions which are applicable to, which are impacting travel agents. So one is where they are selling the packages. Now in this FAQ, thankfully government has clearly defined that what would be the package and what would be the other transactions which would attract LRS through AD banks. So I think two provisions have separate set of implications on the travel agent. One set of is on the sale of overseas packages, where obviously the seller of the package, which would be tour agent, would be liable to collect the TCS appropriately, and he has to track that 7 lakh threshold, because thereafter the rate will change. So obviously it is the obligation of the agent to do it properly. As far as the first responsibility, it goes to the customer. He has to give a right declaration, and agent has to make sure that he is doing all in his limit to make sure that it's a true and faithful declaration that they have received in a proper manner. So as far as packages is concerned, it will be on the agent. But as far as the other travel services are like standalone hotel booking or a flight, international flight booking, or any other expenditure on the travel which is like to be incurred in foreign currency, here the travel agent becomes a mediator between the AD bank and the customer. So that declaration again has to come from the customer, and it has to be in the same process. And bank has to take that declaration through the travel agent. So in that sense, if in this process both travel agent as well as the AD banks who are going to remit that foreign currency outside India, they should make it proper process where it is appropriately collected, and it's a true and fair process from which they are collecting. And if they maintain that process, I think they would be able to carry out this compliance properly. But having said that, I think the technology which or the infrastructure that has to come from RBI of basically monitoring this threshold of 7 lakh or even the larger 2,50,000 LRS limit, that on a real-time basis, I think that is going to help all the merchants as well as the bank in a larger way, where we are actually looking forward to it.
So you spoke about the technology and that the industry at the moment is not fully equipped with that technology. When you say, what are the other hurdles when it comes to the TCS issue that the industry faces?
I think at this point of time, the technology would be a bigger thing, because all the merchants as well as banks, they need to implement some sort of infrastructure, technology infrastructure, to do this compliance appropriately. A lot of real-time transactions happens in travel industry. So it's not just like somebody manually can do the compliance properly here. We have to track through technology. I think that will play a larger role. Other than that, I think one thing we were expecting is on the packages, at least that 7 lakh threshold should have come at a par with the nil rate instead of a 5%, because when we are comparing a standalone hotel booking vis-a-vis a tour package being booked, I think it would have been appropriate if this would have been zero for both, at least a threshold of 7 lakh rupees, which I think we think it's a miss, and we will continue to pursue this matter further.
You spoke about how the technology and all of the other issues that the industry still has. Do you think October 1 is a reasonable deadline then for the industry in order to, come to terms with the entire scheme of changes that has happened?
I think this, from a tour agent's perspective, on the holiday part, it's just a change of rate, though there would be some tracking of this threshold of 7 lakh where the rate changes. So there would be some technology changes. I think we would be able to meet that deadline. But the most important part is from the banking side, on the other LRS transactions, which impact the travel agents also. And there would be some sort of technology in between the merchant as well as the bank, and then back at the back end with the RBI. So I think I would not be able to comment how banks and how much time RBI requires there. But I think till that time, we will have to live with that declaration format.
Sir, is the industry still making some representations to the ministry? What is the kind of assurance, or what is the kind of more details that you want from the government? Even though they have come out with an FAQ, is the industry still in talks with the government regarding this issue?
I think I have already told you two major things where we would be still continue to represent. Is one is this rate of 5% up to 7 lakh for packages, which should be nil. And second point is this technology, time required for this technology. I think if bank do not feel comfortable within this period, and we struggle to get some sort of a solution on the declaration process as well, and then because the liability is on merchants and bank to do this compliance, right? Obviously, if we find it difficult to implement this process in an amicable way, then obviously we would be approaching back to the government for some more modifications.
Okay.